Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Business Boutique for Health Pros. I am here with Leslie Battelle. Leslie, thank you so much for joining and collaborating on this awesome series.
Thanks, Kiki. Good to hear from everybody. I'm really excited to be here today.
So I actually asked Leslie to come on this show and kind of put something together for us each and every month. And the reason why I've asked Leslie Battelle, if you do not know her, she is a wonderful marketing and sales expert. And she specifically works with entrepreneurial wellness coaches and entrepreneurs just like hopefully you guys watching and tuning in or listening in if you're listening to the podcast version of this. And she works hand in hand with clients, actually helping them to create and scale their dream businesses. So, what she's seen is that you might be the best ever nutritionist or, functional medicine coach, but if you struggle with the business side of things, you're not actually able to help as many people in the most valuable ways. So every month, Leslie is going to come on the show and talk to us about some of the struggles her clients are going through, what she's advising them on. It's kind of a really quick, juicy way to get at Leslie's awesome insights and experiences in a really current, fun, quick way. So I'm super excited for this series. I'm sure Leslie will talk a little bit more about her practice as we go, and you'll learn more about her. But just trust that she's literally the perfect person to be on right now. And we are, in the context of keeping things fresh, we are going to address everything going on right now in terms of us being a little bit in lockdown of COVID, the situation there. And now, Leslie, you've been mentioning that a lot of your clients or, and even people out there in your community have been reaching out to you based on what's happening right now, and you've been getting some questions. And can you talk a little bit more to what that is?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So obviously right now, Kiki, we're in a position with especially people that have historically had brick and mortar practices. Obviously, we're in a situation right now with the COVID-19 and all being under quarantine that we need to be actively streamlining and really transitioning into a virtual practice right now. And the reality is, I kind of think that this is a great opportunity in disguise. I recognize there's a lot of challenges that go along with it. But I also know that many people have kind of toyed with the idea of at least starting an online practice or a virtual practice. And now it's kind of like, this is definitely the nudge that they need to get moving forward. But a lot of times the question is, well, where do I start? What do I do? How do I make this work? So I thought a really great topic for today's conversation would be around 3 immediate actions that you can take. Literally, you can start this today in order to help you to create your virtual nutrition practice or your virtual wellness practice, depending on your area of specialization.
Love it. Okay, so everyone, get out your notebooks, get out your Google Docs. Let's get into it. Yeah.
That's right. Let's do it. Yeah, definitely take some notes. I'm going to be sharing as much as I can possibly cram in our time together today. All right. So should we jump in then, Kiki? Are we ready to
Let's
go?
do it. I'm
All
so
right,
ready.
let's go. All right. So again, welcome. I'm super excited to be with all of you here today. And specifically, I'm very passionate, shall we say, in terms of being able to really provide you with some actionable steps that I have seen work. I've tried many of these strategies on my own in my own business, and many of these I actively teach to my students as well as my clients. So anyway, so we are going to talk again about 3 immediate actions that you can take right now that literally you could start them today, that is really going to put you in a position to ramp up your efforts in terms of creating your virtual practice. So let's go ahead and get started. One quick comment before I actually get into the first strategy, just to give you a little bit of context. We are in a very unique time right now, right? Unprecedented time. We have, the consumer cohort, they're really, really struggling, a lot of fear, a lot of, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this, kind of feeling a little out of control. So much of what I'm going to share in terms of marketing and strategy really revolves around leaning in to really a sense of generosity, sharing, education, those types of things with your clients. And I really believe, especially because this online space is getting rather busy and noisy, the practitioners, the coaches, the wellness professionals that are really going to rise to the top are the ones that are visible and really have adopted this sense of generosity. So that's really kind of like the framework that I'm operating from, especially during these times. So we really want to help our clients to feel like to empower them to control the things that they can control, especially when it comes to their health, because obviously there's a lot of rampant fear around, what do I do? What do I do? All right. So with that little bit of backdrop, the first concept that I want to share with you in terms of an action step that you could take literally starting today is what I call the friends and fans outreach strategy. And let me explain a little bit about what I mean by this. First of all, talking with my clients and really having a lot of conversation with wellness professionals, what I'm hearing is that the phones aren't quite ringing off the hook like they used to, right? So, it's just a little quieter right now. So what I'm going to suggest is let's be assertive and helpful, right? So this first concept of a friends and fans strategy, essentially what this is where you're looking through all of your friends, your fans, your former clients, connections. This could be people, former colleagues. It could be people in your neighborhood. It could be people, from your church or synagogue or really wherever, anyone that would simply be happy to hear from you. So what I'm suggesting is that you just brainstorm, maybe, create a little spreadsheet or some way to track these people and just kind of brain dump a whole bunch of people that you can think of that would simply be happy to hear from you. Okay. And then the next step would be to prioritize that list and just begin to do personal reach outs. And really the goal here is, maybe you want to invite them into a 10-minute coffee chat over Zoom, right? Because we're really, a lot of us are feeling rather disconnected right now. So my hunch is that this would be a welcome reprieve for a lot of people. So now once you're on the call or the Zoom chat, whatever you're going to do, of course, you're going to want to establish rapport and you want to try to find out, get a little update from the person. The idea here is just to provide value. And again, we're really operating from that sense of generosity, especially given everything that's going on right now. And if you sense that this person could benefit from additional help from you, why not invite them into, a special strategy session with you, right? Now, what I would recommend is that this would be a gifted session, okay? And ideally, you're going to give this session a name, all right? I think it really makes it more appealing when you give it a name. So just for example, maybe you want to call it like your IBS breakthrough session or your Fab over 50 jumpstart session, right? So really depending on your niche. So the idea here is that you let the person know that you would be honored to gift them one of these special sessions, right? You name it, you say you're honored to gift it, no strings. The session is really designed to help support that other person and really to serve them, because again, this is really in the name of service right now. Now, if when you're on this call, you discover that this person could really benefit from a deeper dive with you, in other words, maybe they need more personalization to their approach to managing their health, then by all means, you've got a perfect opportunity to invite them into that next step. And that next step very well may be a paid offer. Okay, but you go into this really, I think, in these kind of crazy times we're in, we're going in with that, that sense of, okay, I'm going to give, I'm going to educate, and I'm going to be of service. And then I think there's a very high likelihood that by doing this strategy, by implementing it, you're going to be pleasantly surprised to discover that many people are very, very open to taking that next step with you. And obviously, that next step would most likely be a paid step. Does that all make sense, Kiki?
Totally. I love that. And I love the idea that you said around actually naming it. So it's not just a matter of getting them on a call, but it's making something super fun and super like, wow, this is a great opportunity. And just turning, I think so many people are feeling anxious or just feeling down. And so giving them this awesome gift and making it this really special, fun thing that they can, take part in, I think it will be very welcomed. So love that
Yeah,
approach.
definitely. Yeah, and you know what's really interesting is so many people don't do this,
They
right?
don't name it. Exactly. That even just that little thing. It's those little touches that set you apart from other practitioners and that make people go, "Yep, I want that."
Exactly. So I would really encourage you all to, to think about, anybody in your world, either past world, future, whatever, right? Anyone that would simply be happy to hear from you. Just jot them down, jot their name and contact info on a list. And then what you're going to want to do is you want to go back and prioritize, right? And you want to just methodically reach out to people. But I think right now is such a phenomenal time to do this type of activity, right? We all have some downtime. We're not commuting. We're not running all over the place doing errands, and it really is a nice opportunity to reconnect. And I would say definitely reconnecting with former clients that you haven't worked with in a while would probably be maybe the top of the list. Okay,
Totally.
we ready to go on to the next one, Kiki?
Perfect.
All right. So the next strategy that I want to share with you is really it really amounts to putting on a talk, right? So put together an online talk. Obviously, we can't do in-person talks or workshops right now, but I really like the idea of doing, and the form of the talk could take many shapes. It could be a webinar. It could be it could be a super informal, something like a town hall type series of meetings where people come together as a community, right? And you are positioned as the leader inside of that community. It could even be like, I have another idea. You could start a Facebook group. I'm hearing of these popping up. I actually have a client that implemented this strategy. She did it like a 21-day pop-up Facebook group, and her area of focus is mindful eating. Oh my gosh, she got like 100 people in that group really, really easily. So now what's great about that is, you're in a situation, you're coming from a stance of generosity and serving, right? And educating. People get to know, like, and trust you. And then it really paves the way for future offers down the line. All right. So I think doing a talk, an online talk, it really can take a lot of different shapes. It could be like a more formalized webinar, like I said. It could be something inside of a special pop-up Facebook group. It could be doing perhaps Facebook Lives, right? So the idea is that you are increasing your visibility, and by doing so, people really get to know you and like you and trust you. And the beauty of it right now, there's never been a better time to be building your audience, honestly. Like, it is the perfect time. So I really want to encourage everybody listening to, be creative and just think about, what would you like to do in terms of getting more visibility, right? And remember, your goal is just serve, okay? So we're not going to be super worried, oh my gosh, what if no one shows up? What if, hardly anyone like, don't worry about that. Just show up yourself in the spirit of serving. And I promise you, you will get results from this experience. You're going to grow personally, professionally, and most importantly, you're going to serve your target audience, and they are going to benefit greatly. All right, so that is, I think, a really good strategy that I think could benefit many people. And really the key is, once you make the decision to do something like this, I would just say, promote, right? Don't be shy about reminding people, get it out there on social media, send emails, do whatever you need to do to get the word out so that people can actually benefit from your talk. So that is the second strategy. I'm going to just move on into the third one. And that is, I think this is a really great thing that we can all be doing right now. This is something I personally really like to focus on no matter what's going on in the world, right? Right now we're in the middle of a pandemic. It is certainly a great time to do it. And that is creating referral partners and collaborations. Boy, is this a powerful strategy. And I would say now is the time to be reaching out to other people. Those other people might be practitioners, they might be other health professionals. Really, the only criteria I would say is ideally they are practitioners or professionals, or really whoever. They perhaps serve that similar target market as you, albeit in a different way, right? So it could be, so the idea here is that you're going to reach out and set dates, maybe a Zoom coffee date or something like that. You just want to be connecting with people. And it could be professionals or practitioners with whom you could create something in the future, like some kind of collaboration. It could also be people that could be referral partners. You could do some cross-referring in the future or even now. For example, let me give you a few examples. So maybe personal trainers, right? Therapists. I think therapists could be a really, really good bet. And I will say, on the therapist note, I have had many clients reach out and do some collaborations and cross referrals with therapists that have been extremely fruitful. So really want to encourage you to look at therapists. There's acupuncturists, there's chiropractors, there's like all kinds of different professionals that may serve a similar target market. So, I have heard a couple of people, like a couple of my clients, for example, be a little bit apprehensive, right? They've expressed apprehension to me, like, ooh, I don't know if people might just be too preoccupied with what's going on. I don't know if I, feel super comfortable reaching out right now. I would say the opposite is true, because right now people are really out of, their normal routines. And I'll bet if you reach out to them, again, ideally professionals that serve a similar market, and again, you're doing this in the spirit of collaboration, generosity, and service, right? Those are really the three words. Collaboration, generosity, and service. I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised on your ability to begin to develop some very valuable relationships. And really, you might be pleasantly surprised on, what comes up from those conversations, right? Especially when you go into them open-minded. So I would say, a first step in my third tip here, you might look at your, local people, local businesses. You might look more locally for ideas on who to reach out to. Or you might look on perhaps LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn could be a great avenue for you to look at in terms of increasing your connections on LinkedIn, and then private messaging people, right? People that look intriguing, maybe they're local, maybe they're not, but, I think LinkedIn could be a really great resource for this purpose. And so the idea would be just to, maybe you could set a goal for yourself and reach out to, a handful of different people every week. You could say, okay, my goal is to make set up 5 conversations in a week, something like that. I think that would be really effective. So those are my 3 tips. And I'd be curious to know what you think about those, Kiki. Can you
Oh my
envision?
goodness. Well, you know what, Leslie, it's a little bit counterintuitive because you've said, do this stuff, contact people, go for it. And I think that we all really need to hear that right now because a lot of us are a little bit hesitant. We're like, "Ooh, is it almost disrespectful to like try to get a client like in these hard times, or is it almost disrespectful to like reach out to people and try to figure out a collaboration? Like isn't everyone busy and stressed?" But I love what you're saying. It's no, go for it, do it, as long as you're doing it with that right
Yeah,
intention of the, I'm doing it from a place of love, of a place that I want to genuinely help and serve, then no one's going to get offended. And get out of your own way, and let's use this time to really make moves rather than just go backwards. So
yeah. Let's not just wait for the phone to ring,
exactly,
right?
I
And
love
I
that.
think that is probably the biggest mistake right now. And, in terms of like that trepidation around selling things, I do think that things are much more sensitive right now.
Mhm.
So that's why I think it's a little bit of a softer approach, right?
Mhm.
Without a doubt. But guys, the reality is that people still need your help, right? They are
Exactly.
still struggling. Their
Exactly.
health is suffering. And
Exactly.
so that really hasn't changed. If anything, there's a heightened level of awareness around the importance of health in right here and now. And in all
Absolutely.
honesty, I would say those of you that are in the wellness field and are practitioners or, coaches, whatever it is that you do, quite frankly, like you're in the best niche in the universe, I would say right now, right? Like, oh my
Absolutely.
goodness.
And specifically this is the time that people actually can take a little bit more time to, meal plan or to practice the meditation or to do it. And, they're working from home. And so rather than thinking of like, oh God, I don't want to sell to someone, as you say, you can do your free offerings and, offer that strategy call, make sure you give it a name. I love that. And perhaps you can help them in that hour and then perhaps give them a freebie, and maybe they'll become a client months down the line, or maybe they will actually start investing now, because as you said, there's obviously the drawbacks of right now because finances might be a bit tight, but there's also an abundance of time and an abundance of I feel like there's a shift of everyone kind of going inwards and really going deep within themselves. And so if the coaches listening can actually help people through that really powerful time and this really powerful shift, the value of that is just gold. So I'm so grateful for what you've shared, Leslie. I think that was awesome, and I
Yay!
can't wait until next month. Do you want to just throw out how people can contact you and get in touch with you in the meantime? Because I know that you offer lots of content, and I wouldn't want them to wait a full month.
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, so probably the best thing to do is to go to my website, which is lesliebytel.com. And that's Lesli, no E, lesliebytel.com. And I've got some free resources on my website. I think I've got some things that'll come in pretty handy for you in terms of helping you to be successful at building your practice. So, yeah,
Perfect.
I'd love to see you there. You can also feel free to follow me and communicate with me via Instagram. I am spending more and more time on Instagram.
Aren't we all?
And my handle is Leslie Bytel. So would love to see you there and drop me a DM. And that's probably the best way to reach out to me directly.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Leslie. Until next time.
Thanks, Kiki. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye for now.